So how about a story? So this truck, the 86 C10, left me stranded. Now, let me tell you that story. So about 6 months ago, I was driving to work. I worked third shift, and so that meant, around 11 p.m. at night, I was driving. Roads are clear. Very, short drive. I want to say about 20 minutes. And I got about, 6 miles down the road. And this thing started missing. And it was a very weird miss. It was only if I gave it like a lot of gas. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just be easy on it. So I made it a couple miles more, and I pulled over in the parking lot and shut it off. It starts up just fine, all that good stuff. Sounded normal at an idle. But when you went to about 50 miles an hour, sometimes even just 35, the truck would miss. And when I mean miss, I'm talking about would not accelerate. Like, you went to accelerate, it would start abruptly missing and would not go any faster. Just would not happen. So what I did was I ended up getting the rest of the way home, turned around, and it took a little bit. I ended up dying like 3 times. So took it home, went to work, came back the next morning, looked around everything. Everything looked normal. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. Plus, I don't necessarily do mechanic work. I just love to own these vehicles and just drive them for fun. So if I was good at that, I'd be a mechanic. But decided I'd call the local mechanic up. All right. Well, they looked over it, and turns out the carburetor wasn't getting enough fuel. Now, at the time, they didn't know why. But they noticed that when you went to accelerate, it would stop sending fuel. But it was still sending fuel at idle. So they had it for way too long. Ended up calling me saying they couldn't fix it. So I said, okay. Well, I took it to the Chevrolet dealership. Now, with the Chevrolet dealership, I knew there was 2 things. It was going to cost, but most likely it would be done right. Because I will be honest, do you think they fixed it? They absolutely did. Within a week and a half. And the wait was because of waiting on parts. Now, what was wrong with it, you may say? Well, I'll show you. So, believe it or not, it was as simple as the gas cap. So, the gas cap that was on there wasn't holding enough pressure for the gas, so it wasn't able to send enough fuel to the carburetor, apparently. And also, they went ahead and put another carburetor on for me, which is just a Holley 4-barrel. I have the box somewhere, but they did go ahead and put another carburetor on it, just in case it was that, or something else was broke, because there was a broke piece in that as well. But they replaced the carburetor and the fuel cap, and it ran. They also did fix my choke. So if you watch my cold start videos, the choke never worked. So this thing would die. It was hard to start up during the winter. I remember one time it was negative outside. I just wanted to start it, and it took 15 minutes because this thing would not crank. I mean, it just it would turn over and stuff, but it would not, fire. So after I got it fixed, the bill was, over $1,000, but the truck was fixed, and that other mechanic still charged me $800, and the truck still was doing the same thing. So that kind of sucked. But the moral of the story is, with this, the dealership had to fix it, and hey, it was fixed. Very random problem, but hey, well, I've been stranded other places before too. One time with the old motor that was in here, and the old transmission. I was driving in town, you know, very local. So it seems like every time I drive this truck out of town, like over an hour away, I don't run into problems. But like running this truck like locally, it's every time I've broke down. So the second time, or actually this time happened a couple years ago. But I was driving, you know, local, and all of a sudden my transmission started to give. So it got stuck in first gear, wouldn't go past first gear, and then all the gears broke. Probably where I was stressing it out, trying to get to a point where I could actually pull over. Luckily, wasn't a whole lot of traffic, but I had to get somewhere where I could safely pull over, as not only did I have myself, but I had 2 other passengers with me. So I was thinking of that too. So transmission goes out. You know, the truck sits, unfortunately, for about, I want to say 3 months, because at that time, you know how the economy is, couldn't do nothing. I mean, it was something that was going to have to wait, so it waited and got the transmission temporarily fixed. So there was just a part that disconnected. It was something really simple, which was kind of annoying. But, so we get that fixed. Okay, the truck lasts maybe, I want to say, a week. And then the next week, the motor starts making knocking noises. Well, it turns out that motor had something broke. Now, I cannot remember off the top of my head what exactly it was. But it was not the motor being blown, but it was something that was hitting against the motor. But this motor that I used to have didn't really have that much power in the first place, unfortunately. It sounded the exact same as it does now, but as far as the actual, I want to say, you know, your acceleration and stuff, the truck was very poor. I want to say it probably took twice as long to get to 0 to 60. Like, this motor I have in it now is like twice as fast for a 350. But, so what I did was, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's knocking. Well, we ended up getting that temporarily fixed after I ordered the new motor and new transmission. So after that, we found what was going on. The truck ran fine, but I had that new motor and that new transmission. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get it installed. Got it installed, and that's where we're at now. Ever since then, I broke down one other time, which would make, I guess, the third time. And that was when, before I got the new gas tanks on this thing, I was trying to mess with the little switch down there to switch your fuel tanks from the left side to the right side. And it turns out my right side is not hooked up. And the people that put it in said it was. Well, it was not. It got stuck on the right side and would not turn over back to the left side tank. And that caused me to struggle with it being stuck. I eventually did press it enough to where it switched over. But it would turn out that there was also something else wrong with the way they installed this gas tank. So it would inevitably went a few miles and it just wouldn't run at all. It just shut off in the middle of the road. And that was a very dangerous situation. It was right up there where I pull out of my lane. The steep hill with the blind spot, that was scary. Had to actually drive off the road so I wouldn't get rear-ended. So, pretty well. Them are the times I broke down. I want to say it was something to do with the sending unit as far as that, or wiring. It was all kinds of stuff. They never really gotten much explanation of what it was, but it was a really easy fix by a local mechanic. But the Chevy dealership took care of me this very recent time, and got done in a reasonable time, and it's fixed. So, and my choke works, so now it's a lot easier to start up. Now, not saying it ain't as fun, because I do like the trying to get it started, but really, this choke does help. So yeah. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. If you want to watch the other videos, I do make shorts, and I try to make a video every day, if not every other day. Just really depends. Not sure what I'm going to do next, but I will definitely see you in the next one. Y'all have a good one.